Hi, good morning. It's Joy Henderson here. I'm a clinical counseling intern with Foundations Counseling and Assessments, and also a member of the community engagement team in Central Illinois. So I want to ask you, how many times have you heard the statement, "Hey, are you taking care of yourself?" Especially when people learn that you have a special needs child. And they say this as though it's just a given that you need to be reminded of it, right? After all, your priorities are completely different when you become a parent, just to begin with. And now you've been given a new truckload of things that demand your attention. And even as they ask, you hear the words, "Are you?" and you brace yourself for being asked to do something. And then you hear "taking care of," and you wonder, "Oh no, what did I forget to do?" And then you hear "of yourself." And you just want to roll your eyes, swallow hard, and all that comes out is a little chuckle or maybe a sigh. And then you just move on, right? Taking care of yourself has become something of a metaphor these days, perhaps to you, right? What I mean is you see it as a real thing, but it's also kind of a small thing in your mind. Taking care of yourself becomes just doing the basics in small pieces and only when there's time. Well, how about stopping right now and considering what would happen if you were suddenly not here? No, really. Have you ever thought of that? Really? Often we don't stop to think about this because it's probably part of the driving motivation that keeps you from stopping. If you don't do it, who will do it, right? So you forge on and continue to ignore you and taking care of yourself. You wear a smile, try to look as put together as possible. It just becomes a habit. Have you ever wondered then why people ask you if you're taking care of yourself? Could it be they see something that you don't? Or maybe you see it too, but you've just decided to make it a part of your new normal these days. The truth is that the symptoms of self-neglect are not as easy to hide as you might think they are. The saddest thing is that they also impact the most significant relationships in your life first, the ones that you're doing all this stuff for. Negativity, low self-esteem, and feeling overly fatigued can wreak havoc on all these very important relationships, and I know you know that's true. The action of self-neglect is sort of an endless cycle, and it just leads to nowhere. What starts out as an act of self-sacrifice leads to self-neglect. And then you start to feel, if you don't do it, no one else will. Because you know what? No one cares like you. And that can lead you to believe that no one cares about you and all the things you do. And then you start to feel taken for granted. Have you been there? The truth is, if you don't care enough about yourself to take care of yourself, it's going to be hard to really have good and strong and growing relationships. When you've gotten into the habit of neglecting your self-care, you can start to feel like the whole world is against you. You start to feel like maybe somehow you deserve this. This is your lot in life, and you just need to put your head down and just keep going. No one seems to be able to really help anyway. There is no respite for you, it feels like, just responsibility. You know, there is some truth to that statement, but it isn't what you might be thinking. The truth is, you are the only one responsible for your happiness. That's a hard lesson to learn, but it is a fact. We avoid self-care because it has the word self in it sometimes, and we connect that to selfishness. And most of us would rather die than being accused of being selfish. If you hate that word, then call it something else. You know, I just call it good hygiene. I often think of caregivers like being a big, warm, comfortable, soft blanket that people go to wrap themselves up in and feel safe. And sometimes those blankets, well, they get worn and torn and dirty due to being tugged on, overused, fought over, and they just need some repair. A good wash, some great smelling and soft fabric softener, and a nice warm dryer. You know what? They come out as good as new. When my physical and emotional person gets frayed and frazzled, it needs to be repaired too. And guys, that's just good sense, not selfishness. Will some things have to be put on pause or rescheduled for you to take some time to pay attention to yourself? Yeah, they will. You'll be back, just like that blanket, just stronger, more focused, less worried that you need other people to notice what you're doing, because you know what you're doing and you know it's good. Taking care of yourself is a sign to yourself that you are the strongest link in the chain, and you recognize that. It might be time to make it a priority, because guess what, guys? You've got things to do and people to love. I hope that you'll take some time today to take care of yourself. And if you need a suggestion, well, here's one. How about this afternoon around 2 o'clock, while the kids are doing something else and everybody else is otherwise occupied, you log in and join Hina and Andi for an afternoon tea, a little chit chat with two moms who have been right where you are and have had to learn some very difficult lessons about self-care themselves. I hope you'll share this video with someone else who can use it. And most of all, I hope you'll be well. Take care.